from. Very, very conservative, super conservative. So whenever my mom and dad got addicted to drugs, like my family completely shunned them out. They were like, absolutely not.
Right. So when you guys, not to interrupt you.
No, yeah, you're good.
So they were taking drugs when your mom was taking drugs when she was pregnant?
Yes.
With both with you and your sister?
I'm not sure about my sister. I know that she had taken pills while she was pregnant with me.
Okay.
But I don't think that it was over the whole course of the pregnancy. I'm pretty sure it was just like maybe a few times.
So does that have an effect when you were born?
My sister had a stroke when she was born, so she must have probably done it while my sister was in her belly too, because my sister had a stroke when she was born. She also had water on her head, and she was basically told that she would never like walk or live a normal life. But she's actually, doing pretty okay. But I think I got really lucky. I think I got super duper lucky because we touched on it. I have anxiety and stuff like that. But as far as like any like physical disabilities and stuff, like I was good to go. And like I've heard stories about whenever I was in their care, because it was only for probably like 6 months. But they would like rob houses to make money to buy more drugs. And I would be like 1 year old, like in the back seat of the car, like in my little car seat. And my mom would like always bring me back like a little trinket or something from whatever house they robbed, which is so messed up. But I would be so excited to see like, oh, what is she gonna bring me today? Like whatever. But it was very short-lived. So I was sent to go live with my granddaddy. He lived 4 hours north of the rest of my family in North Georgia, so kind of like the mountain area. And things were fairly normal, I would say, for the first like 4 years of my life. So my mom actually came up to North Georgia to live with us whenever I went to go live with my granddaddy. She left my dad. My dad stayed in Middle Georgia, and I never had contact with my dad after that. My mom always wanted me to, but my granddaddy was kind of like, he's not related to him. My mom's his daughter, so he feels kind of obligated to like have a relationship with her, have a relationship with her, but like that he's kind of like this low life dude. That is honestly the reason why my mom is on drugs. So he was like, you're not gonna have a relationship with him. That was fine with me because my granddaddy was like my dad in general. So I wasn't really upset about that. It was cool. So I went to school and stuff, like first grade, second grade, third grade. It was fairly normal. I was raised by my grandparents, right? So like, it was kind of, I was the weird kid in school. I always was. My mom was in and out of the house because she was still kind of in her avid addiction at the time. So whenever she was sober, she would be at the house, and then whenever she was like strung out, she would be gone. But my granddad would kind of like let her go back to work. Some people can call it enabling, but I saw her here and there. So whenever I turned 5 years old, my mom got arrested, and she was sent to prison for 5 years. So I'm pretty sure it was an accumulation of like all of her probation, and then she was like violating all these like different things, and then finally I think they were like, okay, it's time to go. So they sent her to prison. I got to see her here and there. I had contact with her. She would like write me letters and like have her people like draw like little like like Mickey Mouse and stuff like that. So get letters from her in the mail. And my granddaddy was running down to visit her every now and again. But it was mostly just like me, my granddaddy, and I did forget to mention this. He was married to his wife, and that was my nana. So not the same grandma that was raising my sister in South Georgia. This was like his new wife. And that was pretty much how I was raised. So mom goes to prison. I'm still kind of in school. And yeah, it affected me that I was so little. Like I missed her, but it didn't like really affect my like mental or physical health at all. So she gets out, and she seems so happy and healthy and optimistic. And I think for the first time in so long, my granddaddy was like, oh, like this might be it. Like she might actually like get her life together right now. And she had a job, and so she moved back, and she met this guy. His name is Mike. And Mike was a volunteer firefighter, very well known around the town. Very, very well. He also worked as a politician. He didn't drink. He did not do drugs. And all around, just seemed like a really great guy to hang out with. They end up getting a house together. And I think finally, after a few months of her kind of being on her feet, she's working, she's in a healthy relationship, she went to my grandfather and was like, hey, I'm doing well. If you want to sign over custody of Hannah to me, like, I would really appreciate it. And, like, my granddaddy's not evil. Like, he's totally gonna, like, let me go live with her if I'm okay with it, and if he's okay with it. And I was totally down. I was like, yes, finally, like, my mom's good, she's clean. I think in my brain it was just not her being on drugs and not being on drugs, it was her being sick or healthy. So I'm like, oh, she's healthy, she's not sick in bed all the time. I was ready. I was like, yes, finally I get to go live with my mom. Because my mom was fun, too. Like, yeah, she was a drug addict. But whenever she did, like, intense, like, kind of, like, uppers, she would be like, let's go do things. Like, kind of like a kid. Like, let's go to Six Flags. Or let's go to the lake. And let's go do all the things where I would get tired being around her. And I was, like, 5 years old. So I was super excited to go live with her. I moved in. She ended up getting a second job because the place that we were living at was a little bit crazy. But I think she wanted to prove to my granddaddy that she was doing good. So they got a little bit more of an expensive spot. But she did get a second job. So that meant that at night, while she was at her second job, I was at home alone with Mike. And he would like babysit me and whatever. So, this, you know, kind of happened over a course of a few weeks. It was here and there, too. It was, like, not every night he had to babysit me, but just here and there we had to. And it was chill. He would, like, watch TV. I had this big, giant, like, desktop in the living room, which was super weird. But, like, no, back in the day, like, the big computers with, like, hard drive and mouse. And I would play, like, pinball and, like, Minesweeps and, like, all those little computer games, you know. So it was fine for me. But over a course of a few weeks, I started noticing a shift in him. He would like try to come up to me and try to like ask me all these weird questions that as a kid I didn't understand. Like he would kind of be like, has anybody ever taught you like how to touch yourself? And trying to kind of like, I guess, manipulate me into thinking that all these sexual things that he is talking about is normal. Like, oh, it's fine, it's normal. Like, if you touch something, it's totally okay. Everybody does it, you know, blase blah. And I was so little, I didn't understand.
Right, how old were you? Like 7, 8?
Yeah. Yeah,
Or
I would say
maybe older. Was she in prison for a long time?
yeah, so she got arrested when I was 4. I was probably 9. And I say probably 9 because I talked a lot of his time in my memory, so it's hard to remember exactly, but I was young enough. And it got to the point I got really weirded out. I was like, okay, every time he has to babysit me, I'm gonna act like I'm gonna go take a nap in my room because it was weird and I didn't want to be around him. The energy was off and I could feel that as a kid. And so I was like, I'm just gonna go upstairs and take a nap. And he would be like, okay, like whatever. So one day I go up there, and as a kid, like during the day, whenever you take a nap, you know, whenever you sleep, and you're like, I know it's supposed to be asleep right now, but like I can't, so you just like shut your eyes. That was pretty much me. And he came upstairs. I heard him walking up the stairs. He opened the door, and I had my eyes closed because I was supposed to be sleeping. And I heard like a belt buckle kind of jiggle around, and then I kept my eyes closed the entire time. But I heard a few noises. I was laying on my stomach, and I like felt like a substance hit my back, like a warm substance. I'm sure you could guess what it probably was. And then a towel getting wiped off really quickly. So lots of terrible things about that situation. 1, I'm a child. 2, you're doing it while you think that I'm asleep. Like, that's even worse. And I didn't know about sex at that age. I didn't know about masturbation. I didn't know about any of this. All these things that he was doing is completely new, and I didn't know how to react to it. So I kind of ignored it, but it kept happening.
She didn't say anything.
Not yet, no, because I didn't understand it, and I didn't know what to say.
And I think too, as a kid, even though you don't understand what's going on, like you said, you can read a vibe and read a room, you know?
Yes.
Something isn't right.
Yes. I knew it was off. I just didn't know what to say to her.
Right.
So it would happen here and there over like the course of like 2 or 3 weeks. Finally, the straw that broke the camel's back. One day, my mom and Mike got up really early because she had to go to work, and he worked like an hour after her, so they just both got up at the same time. And I had a little bed next to their bed because I had really bad abandonment issues as a kid. Like, I was always that little kid that every time I would go to somebody's house, I would leave your house at 3 o'clock in the morning screaming and crying. Yes, yeah. I was really bad about that. And I think that's why I have anxiety